Hi guys, so today we're going to be doing the biggest hobby project I've ever done on this channel. So I need some infantry, some units for my Crix army for Warmachine, but it's so expensive. The heroes, the war jacks, the battle groups, they're not expensive really, but the units are. They want £70 for 10 Bane Knights, and the unit is 5, so you're getting 2 units, £35 for 5. You know, it's not the most expensive out there, but it's also not cheap, and I'm not ready to pay that price quite yet. So instead I went to eBay and I searched around for some of the cheapest deals I could, and I found what I think are some really good Bane Knights, but they need some major rescuing. So today's project is a huge miniature rescue. In the images the Bane Knights looked a bit twisted, more than they were meant to. The axe handles were curved, things were bent that weren't meant to be, and they all seemed a little bit twisted. So today we're going to be fixing that. Now the owner had done a really good job of keeping everything together. So even though things were apart or had broken off, things were together and we could reassemble it. So I hit order and I waited. So when they came, I took a look at the damages. It was pretty bad. I'm surprised that these pieces hadn't snapped off. They were bent so out of shape. But we're going to be using a heat gun, aka a hairdryer, to try and ease up the metal to make it bendable without it snapping. The first step, however, was stripping the models. These models are good. They're nicely painted. They fit Crix, but they don't quite fit my Crix. I go for a Tim Burton, creepy, crawly, everything's weird, you know, very Nightmare Before Christmas style. Everything's black. Everything's dry brushed white. The metals are dry brushed on very subtly. I want it to look like it's just crawled out of a Tim Burton film. That's the vibe I get for Crix. So we're going to be repainting them. So we're going to throw them in the Dettol. After that, we're going to reassemble all the pieces and bend it all into shape. And finally, we're going to paint the models. So come along. We're going on a big miniature rescue journey. I keep the Dettol in this truffle tin because it allows me to put taller models in, like a Wraithlord that I recently stripped for Warhammer. If I use kind of a flat Tupperware, it doesn't allow me to put tall models in and get full coverage. So they go in one by one. Now we can't forget the bits bag, the bag of the other bits, everything else, whatever you want to call it, that gets pulled into the Dettol afterwards too. To clean these models, I have a few different tubs, and the tubs are used for different things. One has warm water and washing up liquid, which is a really good way to clean the models, and one is for scraping, you know, the Dettol off. And to do that, I'm using a old toothbrush that has a lot of good give in the teeth of the brush, in the brush part. It took a while, but they were starting to look really nice and clean. But then disaster struck. I realised that one of the axe heads was missing. I'm not quite sure when or how this happened, but I was moving the bits around quite a lot. I did the main bit of the Dettoling in my room, but then afterwards I did go to the bathroom to use the sink to give them a much warmer water bath, just to get the Dettol off completely. And at some point, whilst moving the pieces around, I must have misplaced the axe head. Putting the models together was a lot harder and took longer than I had expected it to. That's because there was little parts of paint in the joints that I hadn't been able to scrape off, and the Dettol hadn't done a good enough job of getting rid of, which meant that the joint between the super glue and the model was not super strong. So I had to go in and scrub a bit more with a file, and yeah, in the end they all fitted together. I dry fit this axe head onto this Bane Knight just to see if it fits, but it's too long, so it doesn't belong to him, which is a shame because I really liked his model, but it belongs to this other Bane Knight. On to painting, and painting was really fun, and it didn't take very long at all, because I'd already experimented and tested how I'd paint them on my previous cricks. Basically, I used this black prime as most of the colour. To begin, I started with their skulls, the ones that were exposed. This was super easy. I just used a bone colour and dry brushed it on. One or two goes around the head and it was done. The armour, as I said, was just white dry brushed, and here you can see how effective it is. It was really fun and satisfying, seeing the model's details really get picked up, and it almost looked metallic in places where it was meant to, so I ended up not even using silver on these models. I felt like the white did a good enough job at selling the effect. Now, the most satisfying part, more than anything else, were the robes. I used like a dead skin sort of colour, and yeah, wow. Just a bit of dry brushing, and these models are so well sculpted. You have to give credit to the sculptor, these look so good. I'm used to Games Workshop models, where the robes are never really that special. I mean, I don't have Nighthorn, which is probably the closest thing, but the robes that I have from Games Workshop are a bit thick and plain, and don't have a lot of detail like these do. The only bit of non-dry brushing I really did were the eyes, where just a couple of dabs with light green on a small brush really made them come unalive? To life? You know, it really brought the models forward and raised-like and ghostly. But there wasn't quite enough colour on them yet. The other models in the Crix army all have some gold, so I put some gold on to tie these in. And with that, the models were done. I'm beyond happy with the results of this video. I got these Bane Knights for just £10, and we managed to transform them into something playable and something I really enjoy looking at on the shelf. I often do this thing where the latest models I paint become my favourite for a little bit, but I have a feeling that these are going to be my favourite for a while. How cool is it that Gorshade now has some Banes to summon, or to form a shield wall and protect him against enemy charges? We managed to grow this army to almost 30 points in just one foul swoop, but what unit shall I get next to complete the army? Perhaps it'll be another eBay rescue. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a like and a comment, I really appreciate it. If you want to support me further, you can check out my Patreon. When you join the Patreon, you get to commission one digital diorama from any of your models or any store image you want, and you can tell me what sort of thing you're going for. I'll put some examples of ones I've made before, and it's quite a personal thing, and I think it would look really cool on people's social media to show off their model. So again, thank you so much for watching.